Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, and if this is your first time on Reality Realness, well then welcome. Make sure, please, that you subscribe right down below. We love communicating with you guys, and so when you subscribe, you know when we're going live. So today we're going to be talking about Big Brother, Allstars, season 22, episode, 14, 15, 16, 17. We'll be talking about the Wednesday, Thursday, and tonight's episode. So I have a star-studded crew that we're going to be talking to today. We have, first up, we have Nick, as he's sipping on some tea. Hello,
Hey.
Nick. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Are you excited to talk about Big Brother? We haven't talked to you in a little while.
Well, and also we haven't talked when I've just seen the episodes, they're current, so I'm really excited about that. Yeah, I'm always behind, so this is great.
I know. Well, welcome. We have a few more people joining us today. Someone that you do know.
Mm-hmm.
Bing! We have Brazil. Hi, Brazil.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. Brazil and I've already talked today. We talked all about Love Island. So if you guys are not been watching Love Island, you should be. It's another awesome CBS show that both of us are literally obsessed with, and we speak about it on live every single day. Just saying. And then we have someone else coming in. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, fine. Getting fancy here for Big Brother.
That's the episode.
How are you doing, Phil?
Doing great. Thanks for having me back. I'm excited. It was a good episode.
Was it though?
I think so. I'm excited.
I mean, okay, it's been okay this season, I would say. Nick, what are your overall thoughts of what's been going on this week, and what have you learned this week? Kind of broad though.
I learned that I'm tired of the commission, but I'm happy. Well, I mean, I'm maybe jumping ahead of it, but I'm just happy things are constantly changing. We're seeing different people in power at least. So if it was just like Cody, Tyler, I'd be even more bored. So at least that's something. But I'm really happy with Davon. I like her even more than I already did. And that's what I learned this week.
Yeah, offhand, we did a draft, Phil. Offhand, who has Davon? You do? Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, sorry, who do you have left, Brazil?
Ian and David, and that's it.
Wait, Ian and David? Yes, we did a draft, and Brazil was drafting with her heart and not with her head. And I don't know if she's going to be able to pull through a W with her draft. I will pull it up and put it up in the comments so we can see how we're all doing. Do you have any drafts going, Phil?
I have no draft, but if I did, I would be Team Day. I love Day. She's wonderful.
Absolutely. And Wednesday's episode, it was really sad because they were both on the block. So both Bailey and Dave Bond were on the block, and I definitely never wanted to see that happen, especially because they just saved Christmas. Christmas was being the pawn or whatever, but they kept her in the house, and they kept her in the house especially because they felt safe with her. Kaser would never have put them on the block. There's actually maybe in the final four, who knows, but they were never his target. So what do you think about the fact that, now Christmas is the one that put them both up for nomination?
Well, I mean, I'm not a big Christmas fan anyways. I wasn't a big fan. I think we talked about this last time on BB19. She was kind of useless. But this season, I am very happy that the Wednesday was it the Wednesday episode? No, the Thursday episode showed Christmas in not necessarily the most positive light. It didn't show everything, but at least I was proud that CBS did something and didn't just make it seem like the commission is this great happy group. Yeah, it sucked. I love Day. I really actually liked Babe a lot this season. I felt like I got to know her a little bit more this season. So yeah, it sucked.
So Brazil, you freshly watched the challenge where Bailey made her debut onto. So how do you feel about Bailey in general? Did you have a transformation on how you're feeling about her, or what are your thoughts?
I still the way she handled herself in the challenge. I can't really hate on it because I mean, they're literally in a bunker with like no windows, no sunlight, no nothing. And I think that's enough to make anyone go crazy. And I don't know, the whole situation with Christmas and Day, it made me feel even worse because they were getting frustrated that if they were acting the way Christmas would have, America would have, labeled them as something that they're not. So I don't know. It's a bad situation. I felt really bad for her.
Me too.
So she handled herself really well. I mean,
I think so. I think they both did a pretty good job. I don't think
way better than I would have.
Absolutely, I would have probably been pretty rude. Nick, what did you think about like the actual veto competition? So it was one of those stop and go. I don't know if I wrote down the name of it.
Yeah, it was the one Christmas won HOH on crutches in as a veto this time. I liked it. I liked how it wasn't just read the word and don't go on false start on anything that rhymes with. Like you actually have to do math. But I don't know why the people trying to win it didn't just stay on their things the whole time and just look to the side. And as soon as you see someone go, you just run faster than them. It's just, you just got to not be last, at least for the first few rounds. I'm just like, they didn't see the strategy in it. You didn't have to be good at math to win that competition. So
No.
bad strategy at least.
I was so upset though, because I believe Davon was out first in that one. And I was like, it's simple math. Just take a second and do the math right if you want. But they were all, she should have realized that they were all just waiting to see them go out and then they don't care. You know what I mean? So I think that I would have tried to not be last as well. I think that would be my strategy.
I think, just quickly, I think she would have learned from like buzzing in incorrectly on the HOH and just handing it to Christmas. Just like maybe take your time and let someone make a first move and just hope you're running faster than them. But I was laughing the whole time at her runner's stance. She was like in a full like squat. Like I was like, she's not going for speed here. So like she's yeah. It was Christmas was like a warrior ready to run, and Davon just like they're squatting. I don't know. It's just funny to see.
Oh, I'm actually really tired of Christmas. Most people are. After she nominates them, she wants to go and give Bailey a hug. Now, Christmas's rationale is that Bailey should want to give her a hug because it's just game. It's not personal. Whoever wants to go, like, what are your? Okay, we'll just start with Phil. We'll hear everybody's thoughts. Phil, what is your thoughts on this business versus personal within the game and the House of Big Brother?
Well, I mean, Big Brother. To be honest, Big Brother, everything is open. Like, I mean, everything is fair game in a regular game. So I do get where Christmas is coming from and the whole, like, she was never with Bailey anyway. So her doing that to Bailey isn't a huge surprise. But Bailey's reaction to it is also part of the game. And she just revealed basically one episode before that Day and Bay are 100% solid. And then she says that she's going to use it. She doesn't use the veto. And then she wants a hug. Like, she's got to understand that other people can react, like, I mean, and she screwed them. She's like, she told them she was going to do this and she screwed them. So I wouldn't hug you.
I would never. I would be like, keep her away from me. Like, I would have been fuming. Brazil, how would you have reacted to Christmas being pissed that you didn't hug her?
Cry me a river. I'm already not a hugger, so I have to really like you if I'm gonna hug you. So I don't. Christmas, she just tries to always play the victim, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, she does. And Nick, what are your thoughts?
I think she's used to people liking her all the time in general. And even in this game, like, she was put up as a pawn, unquestionably. Like, no one's going to vote her out. Sure, she volunteered to be on the blog. Like, I think she's just used to things being okay socially around her. So she's like, oh, this will smooth over sooner than she gave it enough time to do. So I think it was just really like, it wasn't socially aware of her to try for that. And yeah, like, even then it bled into the fight with Davon in the bathroom and Bailey. Like, she's just not aware of, like, You nominate people, they're not going to like you. Deal with it. That's the next phase of the game. Your relationship with them is now a little different. Maybe after they survive, try and rebuild like she's trying to do with Devon, unsuccessfully. But like she's trying to do, like, don't do it so like right when the knife is still in. Like, let them cover in the hospital for a bit and then be friends after, you know?
Well, and that's what I think is really frustrating about Christmas's game is that she is so unaware of how the fact that her actions are going to cause a reaction with other people. You know, she talks about her team. She doesn't want to betray her team. And I get it. Okay, she's a team player and she's just like only out for her team. And in this particular game, in her head, is that like it's her team against everybody and everybody else is a casualty, and they just have to realize that they're just playing a game. But she doesn't seem to recognize that people's feelings and, you know, using personal connections as a part of your game strategy, unless if you're going to openly admit it, okay, cool. Be like, hey man, like, I'm sorry, everything you say with me is valid. I can use it for my game. If they're a little bit aware of that, then maybe then I can see that what her statement is holds some water. But like, she like feels like she's being slighted by the fact that like, how dare they like decide that, you know, they're mad at me for just making a game move. Like, I was just like super pissed off. What did you think about in the actual veto competition, how Nicole gave Devon the $5,000?
I called it before it happened.
You called it? Why'd you call it?
I was like, she should totally do this 100%. And then she did it as I was saying it. So I was like, okay, good. I was happy.
Phil was asking about you a little bit, Nick, and his deciding factor about how he feels about you was going to be whether or not you were a Nicole fan. So, so if you want to maybe defend this, you know, on your own, he's deciding about you right now.
Uh-oh.
I will say, if you rewatch our last podcast over the weeks, I don't ever say like I'm rooting for my girl Nicole. No, I'm saying I think she usually finds herself in a good spot within these houses, and she makes it far and does well at the game of Big Brother. I picked her on my team just like I picked Christmas because I see the same kind of qualities. I was picking people who would do well and not be out first 5 rounds, and I think I've done a decent job with it so far. It's not that I like Nicole; it's that I think she can do well at this game. That's it.
Nicole lover.
And I have all her merch. It's on the way.
Actually, well, we'll get into it. Actually,
you've got your own sloppies box that you're going to get into.
Nick, are you getting ideas for punishments for our Big Brother?
I rarely punish them. Like I think it could actually be way harder on them, to be honest. But no ideas. So you mark them down, and we'll do them.
No, I mean the sloppies box is kind of annoying,
but
maybe doable. I'm worried about
cardboard, stiff cardboard.
Say that again.
Just put it in stiff cardboard, and they have to walk through the house that way.
The only thing though is just knocking things over. Like I just would be terrified of knocking something over in one of those things.
There's too many expensive things in the house that I would not risk at all.
Yeah, it's so true, so true. What else happened that episode? So Christmas ends up winning this veto, and she doesn't use it. Brazil, what are your thoughts about this action? Like, I know we all hate Christmas, well, dislike Christmas as a game player. Brazil, what are your thoughts here?
Well, are we blaming Christmas for Tyler not going home? Or do you think Tyler, like, changed his mind?
Fair. Okay, so Nick, we have a little more information about this situation than you do. So maybe what is your perspective on, you know, Tyler going up and kind of saying that did they show the conversation with Devon and Bailey?
Clips of it, not the whole thing, but
in the have not room about how he was going to approach Christmas with this offer. Yes, that was shown. Not so much context, and I was like, what was shown in the episode wasn't warranting the types of reactions I got from you two when before the episode aired, and you're like, they're not going to show it. This is the last, and you were so like angry. I was like, okay, they're hiding something because I still don't fully know. I kind of think I've read around and read some things about it now, but yeah, he definitely showed it showed that him going to the girls and to Christmas.
So what wasn't shown really was his pitch. Like he went into the room crying to Bailey was sleeping, Devon was there, and he went to them and saying that he didn't feel right anymore by getting these two women to be put on the block. He felt as though it was his fault, and that he didn't want to be there anymore because they were in this house standing up for something more important. So he alluded to Black Lives Matter, alluding to, he said the cause, I believe is the wording that he used. And so really, Bailey and Davon, they never asked him to fall on his sword for them at all, but he was giving this lifeline, and then he goes to Christmas and she kind of shuts it down. Phil, what are your thoughts about this whole scenario? And then Nick, I want to hear what you how do you think of it now?
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching it from the show, just like, and not the feed's perspective and what they showed, I think what the narrative of that was, if Bailey and Day had just let Tyler do that and they didn't jump on board and start plotting against Tyler, then it like they make it seem like it spooked Christmas and she thought there was more to it. So then that's why she didn't go ahead with it. But if you watch the feeds, you know that there were other factors that got involved. Like, I mean, there was definitely talk that Allison got involved with everything, and she talked to Tyler as well in the diary room. So there was quite a bit that was being talked about that had happened.
Yeah, they didn't show us the feeds cut when Tyler went into Christmas's HOH room, so we weren't able to see any of that conversation. And all we know was after, like, Tyler had told Cody that Allison had come in and like convinced him otherwise, and so
Really?
yeah. And then Tyler also in that same conversation to Daly, that's their couple name. He like pointed out that Davon's a single mother and he'd rather her win. So it was like a lot of, yeah, it hurt. It really hurt to watch. Like, I cried like during the episode. I just felt so awful for them because, and the way it was portrayed too. I think in the video on YouTube, it's like Tyler throws Davon and Bailey a life vest, and I'm like, he didn't though. So just the way and I knew they were going to do that. I knew they were going to portray it like that, and I think that's why they cut the feed so we couldn't hear what was actually said to Christmas. But he was in there for 2 hours. I think over an hour at least.
Yeah.
And they made it like, because I didn't know why he was like, I just feel so bad. And then he went into the room and spoke with them about how he was going to offer this up to Christmas. And in the diary rooms, they gave the narrative of why he was doing it. And it was basically like, I just feel bad about how I was convincing Danny they were coming after her, and convincing them Danny was coming after them. And I was like, is that really it though? It doesn't seem like that would tear you up at night, because they've both been talking about the others, and like, it is all true. Sure, maybe Tyler was feeding into it all, but like, that's game. So I think there was something more that I was missing that really tore him up, and I guess that's it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that his moral compass was kind of coming out, and he realized like, oh my God, my actions, like, yes, they were true, but like, you know, me chatting to this person and kind of being a little bit sneaky, like, is actually ruining this game of these two people. Also, the fact that I believe his anniversary with Angela was going to be happening as well. So he probably wanted to get out, not go to jury, so that he could spend that time with Angela if he was going to be voted out soon anyways. And so I think that was a combination. He's been threatening to want to quit the game more than one occasion during this season so far. He said that he doesn't really like anybody. He hasn't been having that great of a time within the house this season. And so, you know, they haven't really.
And they really had to convince him to go on the show too. I remember reading that, like, he didn't want to do it at first.
Yeah, and Angela called CBS on his behalf and saying yes, he's going to do it. So he actually declined a couple times beforehand. Nick, you have a thought?
I was just gonna say, I was saying wow to that, because he seems like such a diehard, ready to play fan kind of guy. But I also just think, like, yeah, it's harder and different this time because you're not in love and spending every minute with this person you're in love with in the house. You're alone, and now it's harder for you. Like, that's kind of with like Nicole Francis. Like, she doesn't have a boy that she's been with a lot throughout the season. Like, everyone's kind of playing. It's like they're all married with families and stuff, or partners. It's a way different, because normally they cast a bunch of signals, so there are showmances, and it's just not happening. So it's a different dynamic, I think, for all of them, and as for viewers too.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's kind of it's not really spoiler territory, but apparently, wait, Nick, actually, Brazil, you tell us. You brought me this information about Cody and his girlfriend.
Oh, well, that was Nicole, but apparently on the feeds, I haven't seen the clip or heard it, but our friend Nicole was talking to us about this today. But she said that I guess Cody had said that he doesn't enjoy sex with his girlfriend. And so people have been wondering why every time he tries to talk about his girlfriend, they cut the feeds. And so Nicole is theorizing that Christy pulled her like contract with CBS.
Like her, like you have to sign a waiver to be able to be spoken about on the feeds. And so that's like something that's going on with the feeds as well. Like you're kind of saying, Nick, with like people being in relationships now, like them being their normal selves, having normal conversations is actually affecting their relationships in a different way.
Mm.
And also,
I think everyone just is also like kind of saying like Danny's always flirting with them and they're always like flirting with each other. So if she's not happy with that. Oh, and then he also forgot, he didn't know how old she was and they've been dating for 5 years.
I mean,
Cody forgot his girlfriend's age?
Yeah.
That's not good. One I think I was finding was really frustrating though is like the fact that Davon still has to be so nice to Christmas. There's been a lot of microaggressions that were going on in the house that were not shown on the show. So for instance, this was more so towards Bailey, I believe, but Christmas had said on multiple occasions that, oh, I'm scared to nominate Bailey because she's going to stab me in the eye. And there's another thing that she said, Phil.
She'll get shot.
We get shot?
Yeah, she was going to get shot. Yeah. And there was a lot of the clapping too.
Couple guys, couple tries.
So they never showed the Hi, Jay Jobs. I've never met you.
Hey, no one says that about my Nicole Franzel.
I wish that they put that on the show because that is actually the biggest catalyst as to why Bailey and Davon, or why Bailey anyways, was up on the block. And why they ever really had that target on them anyways. It was originally supposed to be Davon that was the target between the two of them. And then when a couple of tries happened, all of a sudden Nicole was like, nope, Bailey's out. Like, we can't have Bailey
But
go.
the irony in that same conversation, Danny's the one that actually brought it up. And then Bailey made a joke about it. And then Nicole starts crying. So it's okay for Danny to say it, but Bailey can't say it.
But I think that Nicole was the one that actually made it catchy like this.
Yeah.
And I think that Bailey was only like, yeah, like it took you like a couple, I think she repeated what Nicole had said. But what were you gonna say, Nick?
I was just gonna say, like, about Danny being like kind of a shit disturber that way, just instigator that way. Even when Bailey walks out kind of clueless, just in a good mood when Christmas and Davon are yelling at each other, and then they're like, "Oh my, it just started. Yeah, they're talking about you." Or like Danny was just like right there to throw Bailey in, like, "Go!" Like Danny just wants to see the
she's
world
sitting
burn.
with her back to it, and her eyes go like, "Get back, go back there, go."
It's totally just that's Danny's game is making everyone mad at each other.
I mean, everybody has their strategy. All these strategies have worked to a certain degree, so I get it. But I'm just not been excited about seeing Danny's gameplay this season. It's just been bothering me big time. We'll get into a little bit more as to why. What are you gonna say, Nick?
I was just gonna say I'm happy with tonight's episode because Danny's game was kind of bothering me or invisible, and I was like, it's not really great. So I'm like, turn that light on and shine light onto Danny's game now so the rest of the house can react.
Nick, you're probably going to want to pop off later, but I do want to tell you what's happened up until now. So we'll save all the good spoilers until the end, so you can choose whether or not you would like to indulge, or you can
should indulge. You should indulge.
But there's a lot that's been going on that, I don't know, just interesting to know and having your opinions about.
You're so excited.
I mean, there's just stuff to talk about,
I know.
It's just interesting. Anything else happened that episode? Oh, Christmas being like, I'm the head of household and the veto holder, so I get to make the decisions. And I'm just like, you didn't really win that head of household. You didn't lose it, basically. Davon lost the head of household. Mm-hmm. And same with that one, like she was kind of given the veto because the other two women didn't want to have the veto because it was one of those Yankee swaps. So
I was just so excited, like as the HOH comp was playing out, like she's gonna like Rachel Riley her way to that win when everyone's going after her. I was like, come on, this is it, and like I was so mad. Like you have a 1 in 3 chance of getting it right if you buzz, Don't buzz until you know the answer. And if someone gets it faster than you, okay, at least you can sleep at night. But by rushing and you buzz the wrong answer, I was screaming at my TV. I was
so mad.
One quick thing about that episode I wanted to bring up. Obviously, it's not, I guess, a huge deal because they didn't mention it ever again. But Ian had to sit out of the veto. He was really ill, and did you get any more intel on that?
As far as we could tell, okay, so after the whole, so there was the wall yeller that they haven't been. There's actually been I think 4 either wall yellers and 2 banners, or there's been a lot of people trying to communicate with people in the house. So after the one. When Kaser was still in the house, Ian was remember he had that octopus strategy and he was kind of going around and he was starting to, point some fingers and make some moves. And then when Kaser left, it kind of, and the new head of household, it kind of blew everything up. And Ian, I think he started just getting anxiety about his position in the game. He kind of was saying unkind things about, not unkind, but that he didn't want to go after Nicole, he wasn't trusting her anymore. And so I think that all that blowing up, I think has caused some anxiety. And he was, if I'm not mistaken, threatening to leave.
Really?
Is that
yeah, he has to self-evict as well.
I think
he
was
had a
actually
panic
in the
attack.
diary room forever.
Jay Jobs
He
loves
was in the diary room forever.
So do we. Don't worry. Nick doesn't.
I don't. But I play along because I know it's fun. Sometimes.
Oh, sorry. Chris is also, this is my house. Oh my God. She said that in the fight.
She is so cringy. I can't stand her.
Cringe. Oh, okay. So this is actually one thing. This was the last part of that episode. I think it was this episode. Anyways, when Christmas was saying the reason why she nominated Devon next to Bailey was because in a personal conversation that Bailey was having with Christmas, Bailey named Devon as her untouchable. So, Nick, is this game information or is it personal game information or is it personal information that should not be used in game? What are your thoughts on untouchables?
I think it's a stupid excuse to nominate someone regardless. It seems like a weak excuse to use as your real excuse. You wanted to go after them anyways, and you had to use this talk you had. I think it was a bit of maybe a manipulation of trust, but I also think Bailey was a little too forthcoming. And I think on Allstars, everyone should kind of be a little closer to their chest with what they're going to say. So I think it was a slip up that was taken advantage of. But Christmas obviously only heard that information because Bailey fully trusted her, I feel. Why would you ever tell that to someone?
I don't think I would ever tell that.
And Christmas has been planning to put her up. Well, Christmas has been the one saying, no one else wanted to put up Bay and Day next to each other. And Christmas was the only one. I think her and Memphis were like, yeah, we'll do it. We don't care. Mm-hmm. So for weeks, they had been wanting, even the week before when they thought the knockout HOH was going to be endurance, they wanted to give it to Christmas so that they could, so that she could put them both up together. So that had been in motion for weeks prior to Bailey disclosing that info to her. So
that's why I say it was a weak excuse.
Yeah.
You're not in my alliance. You're a powerful duo in the house. You're both great competitors. Just leave it at that.
Phil, you're nodding. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, no, I agree. And actually, at the end of the veto ceremony, when Bailey said, well, can I reveal who your person is? I kind of wish she just named even if she didn't know, she just named somebody. She had nothing to lose at that point. Christmas isn't voting. It doesn't matter. So name somebody, stir it up. She should. That was a mistake on Bailey's part. She should have said somebody. I think
she does start saying somebody's name.
In her exit interview, she said she was almost going to say Ian,
but she didn't say Ian within the house. So if I'm not mistaken, and after the fact.
Oh, did she?
Oh, maybe.
She said it in her interview with Julie. She said, "You want to guess?" And then she eventually, on her fourth guess, said it was Tyler, and it was right. But but I like Phil's strategy. Just name a name, and either you're going to cause chaos because it's not the right name, but it's going to make the actual untouchable doubt Christmas, or you get it right and you expose them. I think it's genius.
Absolutely. At this point, you have nothing to lose. Either you or Devon are going home, no matter what. If there's a little bit of craziness going on, people will not necessarily be set on what they're doing, and there might be a little bit more malleable and might be able to, get them to, work with you or keep you in the house. So I would have definitely thrown out a name there. I'd have thrown about the most damaging name.
It would have been very like Brett-esque from 2 seasons ago. Remember Brett with Rockstar?
Yeah.
That would have been so good.
Oh, I remember Brett.
If you were Bailey in that moment, whose name would you throw out? You think that would cause maybe the most drama?
Who? Me?
Nick. Well, everybody, but Nick first. Or if someone has a name first.
Maybe Danny, because I think everyone knows Danny's been good with everyone, but it's like, wait, you're even like Christmas is number one? That came out of Christmas's mouth? Who are you with, Danny? And it would basically topple the top players down a little bit. I think it would have been smart to say Danny's name.
Brazil, who would you?
Franzel, because of the banner too.
Oh, I don't know that.
No, you know the banner that flew over that said like Cody and Nicole are running the game, or not the banner? Sorry, the wall yeller.
Mm-hmm. So Bullhorn said Nicole and Cody are lying to everyone. I think.
Yeah,
they're lying to everyone.
They're lying to everyone.
And then the banner said Nicole is a liar, I believe. And there was another wall yeller that yelled like a lot of stuff, like no, like he was like the town crier, like he had like a whole like, roll up the scroll, like let's start like I don't know why they didn't get him sooner, and I think he filmed it and put it up online. So but
yeah, so definitely Franzel, because Franzel would have been immediately crying, freaking out. She would have been making the most like drama out of it. So
yeah, she did from when Kaser did his little stunt on eviction night. Like
yep.
It would have been so close to it.
So distasteful.
Yeah. One quick thing I wanted to ask about Ian's anxiety is Christmas picked Ian for safety in the safety suite. Why would he be so anxious with Christmas winning HOH? Would he not think that kind of carried over? Or?
I think it was just everything coming to light that he had been saying. And I think he had a panic attack. Like, that's what it sounded like to me. He asked him to check his blood pressure. He hadn't been sleeping at all. So I think he had a panic attack.
Yeah.
I had also read or heard that he really got upset about Kaser going. Like he was upset about Kaser leaving. So,
well, and he probably realized that his game was kind of going down the tubes with Kaser leaving. Like it wasn't really necessarily better for Ian's game for that to happen. I don't think he just was losing somebody that could be a potential number for him. And I didn't see Kaser ever really targeting Ian. I think he really wanted to work with him. So. I think it was just a combination of everything. And the house is very toxic, even though they're pretending like it's super nice.
Yeah.
They could have kept Kaser, though. So, honestly, they have to only blame themselves.
I think at some point you look at the 5, 6, 7 people evicted that you were all kind of okay with. Like, you were never going against them. They weren't coming after you. And you're like, we could have ran the house if we just would have kept it working. But the problem is the HOHs have just been that side over and over and over and over again. Getting Christmas out was the one shot that they had where it wasn't one of these underdogs on the block on eviction night. So.
Absolutely. And Phil, we didn't get to hear who you would have put up, Bailey or named if Bailey, if you were Bailey and you were trying to.
Well, I like the Nicole thing because I do think that would cause some stuff. Maybe Memphis, just also because I think people are confused about who Memphis is really with. Like besides Cody, I think Memphis thinks he's with Cody, but I think other people they have no idea what Memphis is doing. So that might do something.
That's true.
What would I think? I don't know if it's because I know information, but I think I might say Tyler if I was Bailey. Because then she could kind of look like it's coming from some truth with her having maybe a little bit of information from Tyler. So she can be like, yes, it's 100%. Tyler says that, even if she's lying, that Christmas and you guys are number ones and whatever. She could pretend that she has some information from Tyler and blow it up, even though it actually would be true, that would have been really, really interesting. I don't know if I'm just saying that though, because I know more information.
I think he would have had the same meltdown Nicole had. So. Or something similar.
Yeah, it definitely would have been interesting. I think though, both Bailey and Davon, unfortunately, they're not able to fully express themselves because they don't want to have these labels, these giant labels that people of color are always being, painted with, especially in these environments, and especially on television in these games. They're all people of color are going to be a stereotype. Either the finger wagging black girl or the churchgoer or there's these different tropes categories that these women have had to fall into. And so we always are trying to, go against that grain and against the mold. And so if she started this fight, she was probably second guessing starting that fight in that moment because of the fact that she doesn't want to be labeled a certain way. So I do feel for her in that regard. And I can understand why she didn't say anything, because she's just always kind of like tippy-toeing around maybe being aggressive, unfortunately. What else happened in that episode? Anything good? Oh, yeah, Davon and her diaries have been pretty good this season, especially since she's been on the block talking about Christmas and like not celebrating Christmas anymore. Everybody gets cool. I love that. Any Davon-isms that any of you guys clocked or remember?
I have to say that I don't know if you guys saw it on the feeds, but when this was during, Bailey was still in the house, when she went off and she's like, I'm not even going to call her Christmas anymore. She's this New Year's Day. I'm going to put up Valentine's Day. If I win the veto, I'm coming after Miss St. Patrick's Day. I was like, and it just kept like going. And I was like, this is the funniest thing I've seen on Big Brother. I wish that they showed it. It was so funny.
Enzo was dying. He could not
dying.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but I think you told me about that, Brazil. Well, a lot of podcasters they don't call her Christmas anymore. They're like Labor Day, like whatever. They just any other holiday. They just
Krampus.
What?
Krampus.
Did you call her Krampus? I didn't know what that meant though.
It's a scary movie about like
it's like evil Christmas.
Yeah, Jay Jobs agrees with you. That was so funny. I wish I actually going to find that moment. I need to see that clip because
it's hilarious. I'll send it to you.
Wait, well, if you can find it, Brazil, can you find it on YouTube and share it with us? That'd be
find it on YouTube.
Pardon?
And then share screen.
YouTube. I've watched it.
As usual.
She means air it now live.
We do this all the time.
Oh, like what I do for the first look.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in this episode, so it's a Thursday night episode, the fight happens, correct? The actual fight. So Nick, this is the first time you were experiencing the fight. How, I know you kind of already talked about how you didn't feel like you had a lot of information, but how did you feel about, Bailey and Davon's kind of position in this fight and Christmas and how she was acting?
Well, the fight started in the way I remember it. Is the fight started with Davon sitting down calmly explaining to Christmas why Bailey is so hurt and how you hurt her and she needs time. And I understand you wish that she was your friend right now, but you betrayed her trust and you hurt her. And then she's like, okay, now I'm going to get real. Like, cause you're just not like, you're still defending why you're hurt and justifying it, why you can be mad now. And then it just gets so loud, but I'm really happy just Davon left because clearly you're talking to a wall here. And she was completely right that Christmas is used to, I think, everyone liking her, and she nominated people, she got them mad, and you have to just be like, okay, they're mad at me for now. Maybe they won't be, but until they come to me, I have to kind of just chill. And I think Christmas handled it kind of dumbly. And I was like, okay, good. Like when Bailey came in, she's like, wait, I just got here. She's like, you're right. I need to calm down. I need to tone it down, lower my temper, blah, blah. Sorry. And then it seemed like 30 seconds later, so boom, she's storming out of the room being like, at Bailey. I'm like, wow, Christmas, you have temper issues when you are wrong. And
when she's drinking.
She went to the HOH room, good, and then comes back down to, I think she realized what it looked like if she just goes in the HOH and just have let Davon and Bailey convince everyone why Christmas is being bullheaded and dumb right now. So she came back down because she needed to save face with some people moving forward, I guess. And then, they're provoking them again when they walk by. I don't know. It was just kind of she could have handled herself better. And Bailey, I almost said Bavon. Bailey and Davon are clearly hurt, in jeopardy, and threatened. And you're not. She was talking yeah, I know this sucks for me too. I'm like, no, you're not. You're immune, and you made this happen. We're victims in all this. And so, Christmas is just really bad at realizing the scope of the situation.
Especially when that fight happened after the Tyler situation, right?
After the veto ceremony.
Yeah.
My mind,
so even they're already going through all that. That was a lot emotionally, I'm sure. They both thought that they were going to be safe that week. Mm-hmm. And then Yeah.
She was insecure about her actions and was feeling guilt, and it turned to rage. I think that's just what it was.
What was my biggest problem about the entire Christmas reign, so far, anyways, is that she was crying. Like, she was trying to get the sympathy on her. She was not even having any consideration for the fact that she is definitely ending someone's game who she's saying that that she loves so much and that she would never want to do anything harm by them. But they're not working together in the game. So that means she doesn't have to really consider them as to being like human beings that really want to stay in this game and win the money for their families or whatnot. And so the fact that she was just getting everybody to give her sympathy is what actually makes me dislike Christmas the most, I think. Phil, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I found her really irritating in it. I found that it just bothers me so much to watch. I was so happy that actually on the show they showed both Day and Bay saying, like, if I go off on you this way, this is how CBS is going to portray me. I was impressed that actually CBS showed that because it's very true. Like, I mean, everything that Christmas was doing with her fingers, with the clapping, with the that has happened in the past on Big Brother, and it's that token black player that they love to make. Oh, she went crazy. They love that, and but they don't. They not once did they go, oh, Christmas went crazy. It was Christmas just doesn't understand. I'm like, well, no, Christmas went crazy. Like, Christmas lost it because Bailey took offense to what she did, and so
of course she would.
And why wouldn't she?
Well, so Jacob says that definitely thought that Christmas tears were fake. I don't think that they were fake, but I think that they weren't justified. You know what I mean?
They weren't justified.
And they were for no purpose but for Christmases. Like, they were because she was insecure with her game move. Like, and she's doing it for the alliance. But, like, I hate to say it, but that's why I picked Christmas, is because she's so, like, stubborn, bullheaded, and just gonna be a loyal drone in her alliances. That those people usually go far, and that's why I picked her on my team. Not because I like her, I want to root for her, because she'll just she volunteers as a block to go on the block, does what the alliance wants on her HOH, will vote any way you want. Like, she's just kind of like a drone.
I was just begging. I just wanted the stars to align and for them to be like, hey, let's get rid of Christmas. I would have just, I just like, I could taste that. Like, it would have been so delicious, but they never give me what I want, ever.
Never.
I do find it interesting that Kevin and Danny at the table, when she goes back to the table, are basically telling her, go to your room, cool off. And she's not getting the hint that they also don't think that she's right. Like,
this is my house. Like, like, okay.
You want to see the clip?
Yes. Yeah.
Every holiday I can think of, you're my bitch. I feel like I'm coming after New Year's Eve because it's a problem. I was sitting here minding my business on Valentine's Day, decided to bring friends. I'm gonna tell y'all something else. My number one target is Patrick's Day because she asked for a parade and she don't get it exact. Like, congratulations to everybody in this house. That'll be my only target. I'm going after Thanksgiving.
I'm going after Thanksgiving.
There we go.
I didn't see this clip. I saw it like right when it was happening. It was awesome.
I'm going after Thanksgiving.
What I love though, like I know that Enzo's said a few problematic things within the house, but like I think that I really enjoy him on the screen. I really enjoy, like, even if his gameplay is not the best all the time, like, I'm liking Enzo. How do you guys feeling? Anybody have any thoughts against or for Enzo right now? Nick, you're nodding.
My favorite was just when Bailey and Danny were confronting in the bedroom, and then like, did I say that? And Enzo's like, yeah, you kind of did. Like, it backfired on her. I was just like, yes, because it's true. Like, Enzo just like, don't involve me in this, but like, he's gonna rat her out no matter who you are. Like, I just loved it. So I like Enzo from what I'm being shown of Enzo.
Yeah, and he's pretty much like that in on the feeds. We're not really missing anything of Enzo's game. not so much. I don't think. I can't think of anything really. He's being portrayed pretty accurately, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. I think he's a solid pick for your team too. I like that drone analogy. Like I think he's another drone for his alliance, but he's more smart and savvy and willing to make moves. And Christmas will just do whatever Paul wanted that season. Do whatever the committee wants this season. Like I just think Enzo is a better version of that and more likable version of that.
And do you know that the committee is actually kind of a fake alliance? It's actually still working because basically in week, I believe it was right before Memphis won the head of household, Memphis pulled together the committee. And so it was basically everybody that was already working together, except they're swapping out Tyler. Is that how it worked?
No, Tyler's in.
No, Tyler's in.
No, they swapped out Enzo for Tyler or whatever.
Yeah.
Committee and the actual alliance, I think, is running the house. And so it was perfect for them because they're like, oh, like now Memphis won head of household. So that actually was able to solidify the committee. But it was just like people being like, sure, Memphis, yeah, we're in an alliance, but like it wasn't a real thing. And like you see Julie Chen be like, the committee is running the show, and like it actually was always a fake alliance, which I think is hilarious. What's the name of the other alliance though? Do we know that? The other six?
The core four, and then
the core four, the six,
four prime.
4 prime.
Well, the commission was Cody and Memphis.
But I don't know if they ever named the other 6, but it was an alliance before the committee ever existed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not, and the Slick Six was only made out of convenience just to keep Bay and Day a little
away from Kaser and Janelle.
away from Kaser and Janelle. Oh man, I still have just fantasy life of like what the season would have been like if Keisha stayed.
Keisha stayed.
I love Keisha.
It wouldn't have made it much difference. Like I said, it's the competition wins. Like you just need a veto.
Dynamic would have been different. Like everything would have been different if Keisha stayed.
Keisha likes to fight. Like, I mean, her on Twitter, she's fantastic. She likes to fight.
Yeah. She's been hilarious on Twitter.
Get away with the crazy label. Wait, is that or something? Oh shit! To go with her felony. So I don't know if you're aware, Nick. So I believe it was a couple years ago, while she was still pregnant, her baby daddy had maybe an affair with another pregnant woman, or the other person was pregnant with his baby.
I don't know. I know Christmas was pregnant at the time of her felony. So I don't know if the other girl was. I'm not sure.
Rammed into the back of the other person, the person that her baby daddy was having an affair with.
At the gym.
At the gym. And then she went into the gym apparently, and they got into some big fight, and she threw her iced cappuccino in their face or something like that. And so
she hit her car with her car
while she's pregnant with her current son.
How did they let her on the show?
Absolutely, and that's
why do you think I didn't?
That's a qualification. They let crazy people.
That's what they were like. Yeah, that's why they were putting pictures next of Bailey next to Christmas, and they're like, one is a felon, but I bet, and it was her mugshot. So.
Yeah.
And so with Christmas though, that's what a lot of people are saying. If that any person of color, especially if it was a black man, there'd be no way that a black man could have ever committed some sort of felony and still would be able to go on an All-Stars season of Big Brother. There's 0% chance. No. And the fact that Christmas is just allowed to come on in here and ruin the game, yeah, that's kind of not good. Here. I don't know who that is.
It's the alliance name for Christmas and Tyler.
Oh, Carolinas, absolutely.
Oh.
Forgot about them. I mean, but we know that they're final two.
25-38. That means though.
30 days, I think.
So, felony Christmas. You were so funny. Crashed into her baby daddy's mistress Honda repeatedly.
I love the little ticker at the bottom. It's we're getting our own planes flying overhead. We're like, ooh, what's next? Ooh, yes.
While pregnant.
What'd you say, Brazil?
While pregnant.
I know.
Iced cappuccino.
She potentially lost her son. That's insane to me.
I know. One thing though that I think that was interesting that came out of the fact that it seems like Bailey was going to be the target this week is that Davon was talking to Tyler and be like, we need to work together, we need to help each other. And I think that was a really good thing. Phil, you're nodding. I don't think Davon's going with this, but what do you think?
Well, at least they got Tyler like to take focus off of Day, because I mean Tyler was made aware that Bay and Day, after he threatened to quit, that they started strategizing. So if this can make Tyler not go after Day, I'm all for it. I want Day to win. They should win.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but a lot of people would be very happy. What, Nick?
I'm just gonna say, like, with Davon knowing her number one ally is leaving the game, you gotta smile and nod like she was doing to Christmas, and yeah, of course I'm not going after you, and like, because you have to entertain the conversation for them to even have a chance of being truthful in this. So as long as you just play along, you have nothing to lose here. When you win power, do what the hell you want, but just nod and play along. There's no sense in, I just don't want to play dishonest and give them false hope that no, just Davon's doing it perfectly, especially after they've already made the first shitty move against her. So like the fact that she's doing it with Christmas or Tyler anyway, like she doesn't have anyone as she had Bailey. And even just like with getting to tonight, it's just when Danny saying like you're safe this week, I'm like, whoa, what happened? Like what? Like solid conversations must have been happening for Davon to be in a better position after being on the block than she was before being on the block.
I think
she's in a great spot.
Yeah,
she's in a great spot now. So because once Bay went, it became okay. So now she's got maybe Danny. She might have. Oh, she definitely has Kevin. She's got David. She's got those people. But Nicole still has this soft spot for I owe you. Like money. Tyler's with her. So she does have people. Who does? Oh,
hi. We love puppies. We love dogs. I mean, I definitely think that's the route that Davon was supposed to go. Like, she needs to be like, oh, we're good. Like, to everybody, of course. But I wish that she actually was able to use Tyler, because she should really be doing this. Like, it shouldn't just be, in my opinion, a cover. Like, I think that she should be using Tyler and should be figuring out how she could, like, Tyler staying in front of her is great. I don't think she should ever be going after Tyler, because Tyler is a nice shield for her. And, the other side is going to go after her shields. And she's soon going to find out it's like all the people that, she's working with to a certain extent are who the other side feels is expendable. So I would definitely be keeping Tyler as close as I could to me, but she didn't really do that. On this episode, I actually felt really sad, but Cody gets the letter about his grandfather. Did you guys have any thoughts about this little segment, or just like,
Yeah, it just sucked. It was, I knew right by like, Cody, go to the diary room, because if they really show you, rarely make you hear the go to the diary room part, and I'm triggered to think it's something bad at every time. And I was just like, okay, what's going to happen? And then he opened it and just immediately closed it and like collapsed. It was just really sad. It was, yeah.
Absolutely. And that's something about the Big Brother house that like I find interesting, as well as when outside life happens and then they bring it into the house. Like, I remember watching season 2 and the Twin Towers went down, and like how they had to tell the house guests, or even when Trump was elected with OTT, like there's just like some monumental things that have happened that they kind of had to tell the house guests who are kind of in this bubble. I think that must be like a surreal like experience. Like, I don't know. I'd be really messed up by it, I think.
Even like BB Can 8 with COVID most recently, like that was even really hard to watch. And like the goodbye episode, and yeah, just like I am a sobby baby when it comes to specifically sad, touching moments from Big Brother. I give in to all the tears all the time. So that was bad.
Did you actually cry?
Not for this recent one, but I've cried a lot in the past for Big Brother.
When have you cried?
The Netta, just like in season 2 of BB Can, I talk about it all the time. I love BB Can too. Like when all their family members are waiting behind the glass in the other room, and BB Can 2 when Dylan's mom comes in and he's like breaking down. Like when I see people breaking down with like intense emotion, I just get like this, and I just like it's like it transfers through the screen into me too. Like because I just know exactly how I would feel when in the house isolated for that long, and like if I was to see my mom, like game over.
Brazil, look. Hi, Jaquan!
Jaquan! Hi, friend.
Jaquan hangs out with us while we talk about Love Island. I don't think Jaquan is a fan of Big Brother, so it's nice that he's coming to hang with us here. Hello.
Jaquan.
Do you have any thoughts about Jaquan? Or not about Jaquan, about Big
Let me tell you.
Yeah, I definitely I connect with the social element of this game. So I definitely cry, I think, a little bit more than you, Nick. And I cried quite a few times with what Bailey and Devon were experiencing this last couple of weeks, because I know what they're going through. And it's like you just want to be yourself, and you just want to be able to express yourself freely. And it's kind of like you're just like, clamped down on, and you can't actually do anything. And your natural reaction would be to cry, because like you want to release all that energy, or at least like say something, but you can't, in order for you to like protect your image, or like not be this girl, or whatever it is. And so I was crying for them a few times, watching what they were going to, and especially after when Christmas did not use the veto, and seeing both Bailey and Daly hugging and crying with each other, knowing that they weren't going to make it any further together, it was really heartbreaking, because I know that how hard it is for them to be in the house by themselves, but even together and not being able to move together further, it was really heartbreaking for me.
I felt really bad for Devon after she finally said, I'm walking away from this conversation with Christmas, and into the backyard. And she was like tough and strong and like defending herself and keeping good composure. And then she goes in the backyard and just like breaks down in tears. I was like, yeah, like that was hard to watch, because that would be so frustrating. So
I cried there too, for sure. I don't know what I was talking about, but I said, fuck off, Christmas. I should give a big hug.
Yeah.
All I ever want to say is like, fuck off, Christmas. I don't want your fucking hug. Don't put me on if you want a hug, don't put me on the block. Like, right?
You're going to be mad. Like, your nominees are going to be mad at you, whether they say it or act like it or not. Except that when you try for a head of household, you're not going to have friends after, those specific friends.
Exactly. Or figure it out how to like maneuver it, being like saying things that wouldn't make people more mad, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's Allstars. They know this. Like, I mean, come on. Like, they shouldn't be crying when they nominate people. They've done this before, and if they are, they shouldn't be winning head of household if they don't want it.
Absolutely.
Although I guess she didn't win it.
Man, oh man. So they
Story of her life.
Say it again, Brazil?
Story of her life.
Right?
Yeah, I know.
These things, but he has this like false bravado of being some like exceptional comp beast. Like, but really she's only one that I can think of, one on her own, correct?
What,
she won in her season, she won the like face-offs where they had to like unscramble the message, like the decrypted one or encrypted one.
How into the season was that? I don't remember.
It was like top 8. I think it was the round they all wanted Mark gone. I think he got 8th or 9th or something. Yeah. Oh no, it was 8 because it was 9 because someone was sitting out, and then it was 2, 2, 2, 2. It was like brackets. Yeah.
I definitely do not remember that. I mean,
I watched 19 like last year. I was behind on 19.
Oh my gosh. Well, 19 was a season that I don't think I actually watched. I think I only listened to updates and watched the live feeds because I hated it so much. It was just I hated that season. I didn't enjoy watching it. And that's how I was feeling up until probably about this week. Things have moved around a little bit in the sense that I can still watch it. But I was, Brazil, you were about to turn off the feeds and like not watch the show anymore at one point, no?
Yeah, for the Ian stuff.
Okay, yeah, we're getting to that stuff.
Yeah, I heard about that tonight, finally.
Well, in real life, though, you can hear on the feeds. Did you?
No, I asked what.
There's more Ian stuff.
Different stuff.
Different stuff. So at the end of this episode, they started an endurance competition. It's the wall, and it's a very classic Big Brother competition. So Nick, first off, who did you think was going to win, and who did you want to win? What were your two?
The first thing when I saw the wall was I thought of the live feed that you sent me of Ian in a roundabout way talking about girls with big butts being good at the wall competition, or like, and just like trying to avoid saying the word big boobs would be a would be a detriment. I don't know. I immediately thought about that, and I remember I think they were talking about Danny specifically. So I'm like, oh, it just made me trigger. I'm like, I bet you Danny's gonna win, and I also just know from her seasons how good she is. But I also right away, like I was watching with Guy, we were just like, Tyler, this is Tyler's. So we thought it was gonna be Danny or Tyler.
It's a good guess.
And I wanted Kevin to win though. When it came down to the first few people dropped, I'm like, well, the only one I want to see for my own personal reasons is now Kevin, and he won the last endurance veto. So hey, maybe he could pull it out. And yeah, I was upset.
I thought the same. I went through the same thought process.
Yeah, it's like they edited it that way.
No, like when it got to Kevin, I was like, I was like, please, Kevin, please, and I was like, he won that veto. That was endurance. And then, but why have hope with this season with anything?
That's how it was for me too. I can't remember. I think I was watching the feeds live, but I was doing something else. So I just kind of like listening to what was going on, and I'm like, okay, a couple people went down. I'm like, Kevin, okay, I was rooting for Kevin. I was like, I don't know why I'm putting all my eggs in Kevin's basket. But like, so Kevin, like he runs out, like Kevin, David's out. Kevin, you can do this. Come on, Kevin. And Kevin went out. Then I was actually rooting kind of for Tyler. So I was thinking that Tyler may have taken that hit on Danny. I think that he might have gone through with that, especially knowing how spiteful Danny is and knowing that Danny will probably never forgive Tyler, that I think that he might just have like gone for that one. And I just need to have Danny have a little bit of just desserts because I don't like the way she's been playing this season, and I need her to have something poor happen to her. Phil, what are your thoughts here?
Okay, so I agree actually with both Nick and Brazil. I thought Danny was going to win. I remember her on like the wall doing like a skiing one on one season. Like she was on skis and it was the same thing, and she won that one. I wanted Kevin when it was down to that. I was like, oh, come on, Kevin. And then when he fell, I actually was sort of cheering for Danny just because I'm still in the frame of mind that Danny gets bored really easily in her games, and I feel like she's at the point now where she's going to do something because she's bored.
She's going to light a match and see what happens,
Yeah. And that Danny I like.
Yes. I like old Danny, but I think Danny's very savvy, and she's really smart at navigating the people she's playing with, and there's a lot of huge players. It's Allstars. So I think taking a back seat is smarter. So I think though I don't like her game necessarily, I think she's smart in how she's been playing it, except for the few slip-ups with like talking about Slick Six in front of Nicole and whatever. But yeah, I was rooting for Danny when it came down to the four of them, but I also thought Franzel might win because we didn't see the clip of her saying she also wanted to throw it yet. But because in one of her seasons with James, on I guess 18, she was on the wall with James to the end, and she said, "Let me have it," and he did. So I'm like, okay, I know Nicole can survive the wall, so I thought maybe she could do well at it too.
Oh, just to clarify, Nick, the Danielle that he was talking about was from season 14, so that was the one. I think her name was Danielle. It was on the teams. It wasn't Danny Donato that he was talking about having like lower, like a bigger.
No, I think Nick just thinks that Danny might have a big butt in comparison.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I also thought Danny had.
But he was talking about, wasn't it her name Danielle?
Danielle Murphy.
Yeah.
Murphy.
Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy.
I would just change it.
But we're not allowed to talk about her.
Actually, that's true.
We're not in trouble.
Murphy.
Do I know?
Don't talk about her.
Yeah, she's really annoying. She liked what's that
She
guy?
was on Dan's team. She was like stuck to Dan the whole time. But Dan.
Oh, her. Oh no.
Dan used her well.
Yeah.
What was the guy's name that she was into though? With the Shane.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I was really happy though that Danny, before like everybody was saying that Devon was going to be safe, she kind of made this final four with the girls. I feel like it's very silly that the girls have allowed them to be like 7-4. I think that that's a very dangerous ratio to be in the house, like especially in these late games, because now
that's how Nicole Franzel likes it. She's getting her way.
Yeah. Get rid of the girls.
Whittle down the girls.
Because then the guys go after each other and keep her to the end.
Nothing makes me happier than seeing her in that sloppy suit. I don't think they showed it on the episode, but definitely when she got it, there was a few memes or gifs that were going around, and she did say this that basically that production likes Janelle better because like of the sloppy outfit that she got. Your thoughts, Phil? You seem to like it.
Well, for sure, production loves Janelle. That's not even a question. Yes, production loves Janelle more than Nicole.
They're like going through all their costumes. They're like, "Oh, Janelle looks good in this one. Ooh, that'd be nice on Janelle." And then they're like, Nicole friends are like, "Oh, this is really awkward and annoying," and she'll wear it. Yes.
It's huge. It's so big.
It's so stupid.
It's so dumb. I wanted her so bad to be on the wall in that costume.
I know.
So badly.
That would have been really good.
I was just picturing her standing there.
The added hair, they ended up hot gluing it. She had to wear the wig, but then the wig kept falling in front of her face, so they ended up hot gluing it to the outside of the actual box.
What are you gonna say, Phil?
There's a good photo of her trying to get crawl through the have-not door, and she's like stuck trying to get there.
I haven't seen that. I need to see that.
I need to see that. That's hilarious. It's just such a stupid costume. I just love that it's on her because I'm not a big fan of hers. I just like her looking really silly, and I mean, I like the fact that she's a good sport.
She's a very good sport about it.
Will wear it. I didn't like the fact that she's like trying to make a dig at Janelle about it. It's like, relax. Like, Janelle and you are not the same. If a girl makes it to Final Four, she will be Brittany'd.
The brigaded.
Oh, brigade. Yeah. Oh, okay. I guess that's what they mean.
Unless she wins, all you got to do is win at top 4, and you make it.
Stop it! Just stop! Don't say that.
Everybody, that happens to a lot of people. So Kristen was kind of in that situation. She was into the final 3, and so she was kind of kicked out by the boys there. Obviously, Brittany. Yeah. Has that happened any other times?
Christmas.
Yeah.
Diane, kind of.
Diane, final 3, and the 2 boys went.
They were going to take each other.
Right now, with these odds, 2 boys.
Keisha.
Yeah, Keisha did think she was part
of it. Danielle with Dan and Ian.
Yeah, that's like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a thing. That's really bad. I mean, they're being stupid about this. They're allowing, Danny being Janelle-y, and then Nicole only really wanting to work with guys, and Christmas only really listening and working with her team, which is mostly guys. Like, she'll listen to guys more than she'll listen to girls just in general, it seems. And so I think it's really going to screw them in the end.
Absolutely.
I think
we already know this, though.
I think the triple threat will get to the final 3. I think that Tyler is going to be able to come out.
Who's triple threat?
Triple threat is Enzo, Tyler, and Cody.
They've all talked about how they're all working with each other?
It's called triple threat.
Okay. I mean, I guess so. Yeah.
Funny story. I wish I had it right by me, but I was doing the recaps with Taryn last Wednesday.
Okay.
And so my alliance on Big Brother Cheesecake 3 was triple threat. So that's what I made on day 2. And so because we're assholes, we made sweatshirts for our reveal. So we did like a video reveal of us as the final 3 because nobody in the game knew that we were working together the whole time. And so we have like the triple threat like sweatshirt that we like. So I wore it on Terrence, and I was like, told him briefly the story, and I showed him like my triple threat sweatshirt.
How did Jerry feel about that?
They were pissed. They're like, "Fuck."
I would be too.
I thought I had bad jury management.
Yeah, Keisha. Yeah, Jay Jobs saying Keisha. Absolutely. Triple threat. Yeah, Tyler and Cozy. Thank you. Hey, Jobs, you got all the info. What else do you have? Any other info? We're not spoilers yet, but
stenographer Jay Jobs.
Yeah. So triple threat is those 3. So I have a really strong feeling because they've been winning so much that I think that they could probably get there. Who's really going to stop them?
They're well rounded, especially Cody. Like, he's so good at the mental stuff. He's very good at the physical. He's just like a well-rounded competitor. Tyler as well, and Enzo's proving to be great as well. Like, they're just, I think they all have like enough honor to actually see, like, let's see top 3 and then best man wins kind of thing. Kind of like what we did, Brazil. Like, just like, let's just not let anyone break us up because let's just not let it, So.
That's the way to play, is having something strong and stable from the beginning, and nothing can get through to it. and being a reliable source of information gathering and not spilling anything. Like that's
you have to respect these people, like that you're going to be that hardcore to the end with. If you don't respect them fully, you're going to look for the crack and jab the knife in sometime, like Danny might do or something.
Well, and that's what I think how Bailey must have been feeling with Christmas. Like they had been kind of strategizing a little bit, you know, even having discussions when JSAR were all coming to them, like trying to get them into groups. Like they definitely had strategy talks about how they didn't want to be siding with Janelle and Kaysar. And so the fact that, you know, Christmas is like, well, they never came to me and talked to me about anything. And then, but Bailey's thinking that they're friends enough for her to say, hey, like my untouchable is Devon. Like who's your untouchable? Like they're having a conversation. So Brazil, if Nick had done that to you in the game and used some sort of game information or some personal information about you in the game, how would you have reacted to that? You say?
I mean, I think, well, I was gonna say we had like Nick had more opportunities to take me out. I don't think I had many opportunities to take Nick out. So
he's never nominated. Neither were you, though. We never did.
Yeah. You get context. They just played a game together. So Nick ended up being third, and Brazil won that season. So that's kind of like how we're having like. I'm just trying to see because like they're kind of in a similar situation. Like they didn't know each other before the game. No. They came in. They made friends within the game with each other, and you know there was a lot of reasons that they could have maybe tried to go against each other. So I'm just curious as to like how Christmas's theory holds any water with like, well, we never really talked in game at this point, or like that was game friend information, not game information. I don't know.
It's hard for me to really think about because I don't think I never really questioned Nick's trust ever, so I never really had to go down that road. Like I kind of just told him everything, and then felt deep down he would never like tell anyone. If it were to have happened, I would have been real fucked up.
Was there ever anybody in your game that was like another player that thought you were with them and you had to stab them or anything like that? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always wanted to work
I was in a pregame alliance, and I ended up
Christmas.
So Jay Johnson, we're not talking about sequester, but we all, well, not all of us, but I played on a season of, it's called Big Brother Cheesecake, where the winning prize is a gift certificate to Cheesecake Factory. And so I played season 3 and I won that season. And then I recruited Nick to play in season 4. He was third. And then Brazil, who I met within this gaming community, she played season 4 with Nick and she won that season. So we're just kind of like talking about some familiar scenarios because we've had played games together.
I think as I put my entire game and like everything in my life into like Nick and Lindsay, probably right when jury started, I was like, I'm all in. Like, and I had been looking for a different alliance than the one I was in, but I just so happened to be voting out everyone that was in my old alliance. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, Nick and Lindsay could have easily like screwed my whole game up just by like saying one sentence. Like they could have like paired with the other people that were left from my old alliance and been like, let's get her out. But they never did. So that
we always were like good rapport, wanted to work together, but we never fully trusted each other. And I think we're both savvy enough to never just like, who's your untouchable? Like we didn't have those kind of talks because we respected and liked each other, but we weren't working together. But our alliances and our allies were, and they kept trying to pull us together, but we were a little uncertain. And then we had this aha moment right when jury started where we were like, this person telling you that, they told me that. Oh, they did. And then we're just like, okay, me and you, screw them. And we did it. And you were the one who actually even brought me closer to Lindsay, because I was always with Lindsay, but you were like, us two are together, you in? I'm like, hell yes. And yeah, we just have this level of respect, kind of like the Enzo Tyler Cody thing, where we're just like, look, if no one comes in, if we don't ruin this, no one can. And we literally won every single HOH from jury to top 2. Us 3, I think, right? Yeah, we did. We won every single HOH. We could have made any moves and we didn't, because we're like, if we don't screw it up, then we win. And then I'm happy with either of those two girls winning. I think they were all happy with me or the other girl winning too.
Yeah.
It was like it was great.
We wanted to make sure we had control over at least like who got to the final two chairs, because I would have never been bitter towards Nick or Lindsay at the end of anything. Like I would have happily voted for either of them.
Okay, I just want to know how you would have felt in this situation. Nobody cares about your entire game.
You did.
I just wanted to know about whether
I don't know. Like it's hard to even like imagine. So I don't know.
You're just like losing people watching like 5, 4. 3. We don't care. Don't worry. I just want to like.
Basically,
like you answered it. It's fine. But in terms
it comes down to respect. I don't think Christmas really respected Bailey in the game as much as she says she would outside of the game. And whereas I respected Brazil in and outside the game, that I wouldn't have done something dirty like that if she did tell me. And she did tell me Curtis was her number one, and I was going after Curtis. So I was like, okay, cool. I still know that you're with me now, even though I am going to take out your number one, and it worked.
But and I think that also though, like neither of you would have been like use that information out in public and be like, this is why I'm using it. I think it's kind of I don't know, it's just kind of shitty. Anyways, Bill,
but don't you think that the real answer to if somebody goes who's your untouchable is I don't have one, or you can be my untouchable? Like, you don't want to say somebody else. You want to talk to the person you're talking to and tell them you're safe with me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the way Christmas reacted when she asked Christmas, like, do you have any untouchables? And she's like, you go first. So Christmas does. I would have never divulged that with her response being the way it was. So
I definitely think that a lot of people in this particular game have been divulging too much information to people. Like, we all know that knowledge is power in any of these games. You could use it as so much leverage, and people are just like spilling it all over the place. It's like giving knowledge and information that people could be using as ammunition. So regardless of whether or not Bailey felt that Christmas and her were building an alliance and they're having an alliance kind of friend kind of talk, I don't think that I would have divulged that information first. A, I wouldn't have done it first.
No.
B, I would just have to know that anything that came out of my mouth could be used against me. So if I'm saying somebody, it better be somebody that is not going to screw me over. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't think I would want to give anybody that much power.
Yeah.
Personally. Phil, would you?
Yeah. No, I agree.
No, I agree.
Read the room.
Say what?
I said, read the room.
Well, exactly. I mean, Bailey, I think that she was just, both Bailey and Devon were really just wanting the things that people were saying to her to be true.
And they said that Christmas slept next to them every night. They all did laundry together. Like, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't outlandish that Bailey did divulge that to her because they're sharing a room together the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Bailey made the same mistake in BB20, 2 free with info. Absolutely. You got to keep, I know it's tempting because I feel like a lot of people that go into the Big Brother house like to chat and gossip and strategize and figure things out and like, you know, be in cahoots. Like, I get that. But like, part of the being a really good player is knowing what information to share with people. And I think that I wish that Bailey had learned that in her previous season, because her divulging that information, even Devon divulging information in both of her previous seasons, were the catalyst of getting them out of the house. So shut the F up.
And Devon likes to pride herself as an information collector, and she senses what people are thinking you're going to do, and she prides herself as this mastermind, but she does talk a lot and like divulge. And I think instead, like flipping that question around of who's your untouchable, don't rank it like who's your number one, just rank it who's your number last. Be like, well, it's definitely not so-and-so because I'm going after them. And then at least it makes you feel better. Okay, you're not my next hit list. And Christmas would have been okay with that answer probably. Like, you can spin it around so that you don't give away everything. Your most tender weakness, you know?
Well, I think we talked about it before too, but I also think that Christmas just, if she had a real solid reason to put up Bailey and Devon, she wouldn't have used this untouchable thing. I think she convinced herself this was a good enough reason to put them on the block, and because she didn't really have a good reason to put them on the block. And so
I gave her 3 earlier. You're a powerful duo. You're good at comps, and you're socially great. Like, just say that.
Did someone say that Christmas is smart? Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
Did you say that, Phil?
I definitely did not say that. No.
This is the worst. Especially in an all-star season, I want to see good gameplay, and I feel like it's been really sloppy all around. I think that the core four have been playing pretty well. I'm not enjoying the game that they want to see be played, but they've pretty much put themselves in a position where they're most likely going to get to the final four. Like they're in a pretty good spot. So, I hate the game that's being played in general on a whole, but if I look at them as a core four, I think that they're doing pretty well. Who do you guys think is set up the best right now before we get to what's happening else in this episode? She just does their nominations. Okay. Nick, who's in the best position right now?
Probably Enzo. I just think he's been in a great position since it started. He has no repercussions for his HOH, it seems, and he just is really good at the way he speaks to people. He's a really good salesman in making you believe that he's on your side and he'll never go against you. And I think he's just done that with everyone, even though he's obviously lying to some of these people. So, yeah.
Brazil?
Enzo.
Phil?
Absolutely Enzo.
100% Enzo. I mean, you said that that threesome is the alliance of three, and I think that of the three, they'd be stupid, and I think that they're going to take Enzo to the final two, and he's got it locked already.
For sure, and he's been winning more than he did his first season. So in that final three spot where he needed to win, I think that he might be able to pull out the win there this time. He's playing a bit goofy. He's playing really likable. He's playing like, you got to win. Like, he's telling his alliance, like, we kind of have to be a powerful alliance. I think that's to take the heat off of him looking like he's so strong. But I still think that people are going to take him all the way. I think Cody's ego is so big that he would take Cody or Enzo to the final two because it's just like, I can beat Enzo.
He wouldn't have learned his lessons from 16.
He won't beat Enzo.
No way, but I don't think so.
I know.
But he won't. He's going to think that he can't beat Tyler. If Cody gets the power, he's going to say, I can't beat Tyler. And I think Tyler will think the same about Cody because there's a lot of people there for Cody. But at the end of the day, Enzo's got all these people that just love him. So,
like, yes, he's I'm playing the stock watch with Rob as a podcast, and I have so much stock in Enzo right now. And so I spread things around. I've been moving the other stocks that I've been spreading around. And so right now I have a lot of stock in
Franzel.
No, I don't have none in Franzel, none in Dan. I have stock in Memphis. Whoop, like, who's that? Memphis?
Yeah. He's my only guy on my team, but I think he'll do okay.
In Memphis? Why?
I was just thinking about people that I thought were going to get me the most money, right? So kind of how the stock watch works is you get $200 and then you can buy people, like stocks of people for $5, and then their rankings go up and down and their stocks get valued as more or less. And so you buy and sell stocks if you need to, depending on how they're doing in the game. And so Memphis is doing actually better than a lot of people. So I'm happy I have some stocks in Memphis. I got some stocks in Enzo. And then I have a bunch of stock in Devon. I think I put stock in Devon.
That's a fun little game. I wish I was in on that.
You might be able to start within it. I'll send you the link. It's realitystockwatch.com.
Cool.
You might be able to pop in. I think I'm ranked like 800 out of 5,000 right now for my stock purchases. Just saying.
That's pretty good.
But I want to have a good week where I can, I bought low. I bought all these players low. And so now I want to be able to sell high and then just go all in on Enzo. That's what I kind of want to do so I can at least get up in the rankings.
If they win a comp, did you say their stock goes up? Or if they win things?
Every week they do a stock watch on Tuesday. And so you hear from the audience, how they kind of rank each player from 1 to 10. And then the stock people doing the stock watch do their same ranking and then the average score. And then I don't know who does the actual, like, the values of each stock, but like they use that information to determine the values of each player. And then that shows how the market goes up and down. So right now I got some money in on Enzo. So I want Enzo to win.
I was thinking Ian was doing fine, but do you I feel like Brazil, you were kind of like, oh no, I don't know about Ian anymore. Like this was a couple weeks ago. Is Ian doing okay?
I agree, J Job. Sorry, Nick. We'll get back to this 1 second. So, except for the Middle Eastern food comment, Enzo is a winner that both sides like.
And Ian stuff.
I never saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can talk about that now. Then, sorry, what was your question, Nick? We'll talk about
just how's Ian doing in the game? Because you were kind of. I was gonna pick Nicole Anthony, and you were like, no, because she's doomed. And I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming, and you were right. So like, usually your predictions are right on people. It seems
he's gonna get backdoored or on the block within the next 2-3 weeks max.
Yeah. I think I might have to sell some. If I have any Ian stock still, I might have sold them already. But
it's unfortunate. Well, I think it's gonna prolong it, like given what's been going on. Like I think Chantele and I were talking about this earlier today. Was it with I don't know when it was. We talk a lot. But about like given what's been going on that people don't really want to put him on the block now. But that's only gonna prolong it for so long. He's still a winner, he's still a threat, and he won his way out.
He's not part of the committee. He's not part of the committee or Devon. He's going to be out before 7. You know what I mean? Like pretty much most likely, unless obviously there's a power shift. So the Middle Eastern food comment, I haven't seen it specifically, but Brazil, do you want to relay it, or Phil, do you know this comment or no?
No.
It was about Kaser, and I think they're talking about have-nots or something along those lines, and he like made a comment about like them bringing in like or making it Middle Eastern food for Kaser, like something along those lines. I don't remember specifically. Nicole was the one that told us.
Oh, okay. So it was definitely in bad taste. I never heard it specifically, so I can't make my own kind of judgment as to like if it was appropriate or inappropriate. I'm sure it was a little bit offside. I will say that he's a little bit older, so he might not realize, shouldn't say stuff like that as an excuse for him, we'll say. But I still don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's racist, because there's been a lot of worse things I would say that have come out of people's mouths in the house.
He said the words Middle Eastern food? Or is that just like a way of saying a slur or something that he said?
He was like making fun of Kaser, like not making fun, but basically saying that he needs, I don't know.
Kaser food. I can't remember what it was, but I think he might have even said Middle Eastern food. Like, oh, they're going to have some Middle Eastern food for Kaser or something like that. I can't remember exactly how it was. I'll try to look it up. But anyway, so yeah, it wasn't the best comment to say, but I can understand not realizing that it was something that was offside. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I have no context. I have no idea.
That's the worst.
Oh, yeah, that's what it. J Job said before the veto competition.
And just said it would be a Middle Eastern food comp, right, to favor Kaser.
Because production loved. They were thinking about like there's still gonna be a battle back. They were like fearing Janelle coming back, and they were just like kind of hypothesizing. And
I mean, it's bad, but it's not the worst. What do you think of it, Phil? As a comment.
Well, it's I mean, it's bad. Like, I mean, but I think he's probably meaning like the production's gonna rig it for people to win. That's what I get out of that. But yeah, it's the wrong choice of words. You shouldn't be saying that. Like,
say it, but they're gonna rig it for Kaser to win.
Yeah,
you can say that. If that, like, to say what you mean.
But Enzo's trying to be funny, though.
Yeah,
he's trying to be funny. Yeah, and that's Enzo, right? Like, he's trying to be funny. That's his character.
And with if Enzo was Middle Eastern, it would have been funny. You know what I mean? I don't know. So maybe. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. But I think he's just trying to be funny. You get the whole shebang. So what did you guys think then, actually, about Kevin having the LGBTQ kind of conversation with Enzo, David, and I believe Danny in the kitchen, talking about how he wasn't sure whether or not he was being a good role model for people in that community. Nick, what are your thoughts about Kevin as a player, and how do you think that the community might be looking at him? And do you have any thoughts as to maybe why he was bringing this up?
I could see why, being the only like LGBTQ plus person on a season, would you be like, oh, all eyes on me, or like everyone tunes into a season like, oh, who's the gay guy, or who's the like whatever it is, like who's the queer person on the season. I just don't know that is anyone looking to Kevin as like defining that role. I don't know. I never thought of Kevin that way. I just was like, oh yeah, it's just a player who made it far in a season. Like I didn't think about that, but I guess it's when you're in the house, you would have a totally different perception. He says it's like I don't know what people think, and it just weighs on you, like the unknowns. So I think just as long as you play your best, treat people with respect, the fact that you're in that like LGBTQ community, like it's I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I just don't think it's like it. Yeah, I don't know.
Joe, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's been very rare, like that they make it such a big focus in the show. I remember like when Bunky and Marcellus at the beginning, first couple Big Brothers, like, I mean, they made it a little bit more. I think Audrey probably got the biggest thing for LGBT, like in there. Like, I mean, she got quite a bit of focus on that. When Kevin's season, I don't remember them really focusing too much on him being gay, and I mean, I think he seems to be very worried, like as a person this season, probably because he is a bit by himself. I was actually excited. I think he's probably one of the best representations of a gay player that has played Big Brother. I was excited for him to come back. I'm not overly thrilled with how he's been playing, but yeah, I mean, I always thought of him as a great player, and yeah, he's good.
Good. Any thoughts?
He's good.
I think I mentioned this a few chats ago on the podcast. So like, I think because Kevin was put into a team with other offbeat people, he was one of different degrees of offbeatedness, or however you want to put that. Like, it was never a huge focus for him because he was with a bunch of different kind of people. So he was never singled out on his season for specifically being gay. So, and I think he also was having a tougher time because he wasn't just like lumped in with like, okay, as long as we win, we're all safe. We're a team, right? Like, he went in alone, and I think it's harder. And I think a lot of people actually on this season are experiencing that because they don't have their showmance. They don't have all the guys they're used to playing. It's like you have to adapt and sink or swim. So, but as far as Kevin,
he was also an alternate. Like, so he came in, like, he was one of the last people I think that got cast. He wasn't part of any of the pre-planning, so he's probably feeling very alone in this game.
I do when they announced him, and I saw like when they were listing the cast list, I was like, oh, Kevin. I remember like I don't remember much about season 11 as a whole. I remember some things, but just I remember always thinking he was kind of one of the smarter players, keeping quiet in the background, and I like that.
So Brazil, maybe you can bring us up to speed though on the Ian-ness of it all, because then we're going to get into the nominations. I don't think that they're going to share this on the episode, Nick, and so this is to get you a little bit caught up with some stuff that's been going on behind the scenes about Ian, just so you can have a little more perspective. So you've seen these clips. I've only read them, so if you want to maybe share, Brazil, what's been going on?
It all started with a moment where in the key room it was Memphis, Danny, Nicole, and Cody, and Memphis came into the room and started talking about Ian and Christmas, and about how Ian was bothering him. And this is the same week that the Bailey and Davon stuff was happening, so I was already pretty upset in general. But Memphis, they basically were all mocking. Well, Memphis was the main one mocking Ian for rocking and like being weird and freaking him out. And Christmas made a joke about, or Memphis said that he's afraid that in the middle of the night he's gonna be like, he'll open his eyes and Ian will be like rocking over him. And then Christmas made a joke about him being like a sacrificial lamb. Yeah, it was like really awful. And like Nicole Franzel was cracking up. They were all laughing. So Nicole's lost a lot of sponsors. Olay, like a bunch of people have just like retracted their contracts with her.
TMZ wrote an article about the situation, about how all the house guests have been, not all, but some of the house guests have been treating him. And it has
joined in later, like separately. I was watching on the feeds, like Ian came out of the shower and it was like Enzo, Memphis, Cody, and someone else like sitting around like the big table. And then Ian, I think, was just genuinely excited to like see Enzo, I guess, and he just like put his stuff down next to him. He's like, "Hey, Enzo, what's up, man?" And then Enzo was like in front of Ian, was like kind of mocking him, like, "Man, every time this kid sees me, it's like he hasn't seen me for 5 years. Like it's the weirdest thing." Like, but then like later, was just saying that like he creeps him out and he wants to get him out of the house and just like that. So
He's so cute and genuine in that moment, you know, like wanting to see, like just enjoying seeing Enzo and like, yeah. So with how these particular house guests have been treating Ian, it hasn't been made clear, but it seems as though at least Danny and Nicole have had a spoken to in the diary room about their treatment of Ian. And so anytime Ian gets brought up in the game now, the feeds are cutting. And so Danny has been saying things like, "Yeah, I can't touch Ian. No, I can't put Ian up." That's part of her narrative with her head of household this week, which is also one of the reasons why she went down this route by nominating David and Kevin. But Ian was originally would be on the table, but he's not on the table this week, and that's.
Are you saying that production said Danny can't nominate Ian now?
No,
they just brought to light, I think.
That production's probably like, "Hey, what you guys have been saying has not been very well received. That you're basically bullying the only person that has autism and that's in the house." And she was probably like, "Oh my God, I don't want to come across as that. I can't look bad in front of America," and then nominate him and have him go home on.
This is the second time productions talked to Danny about bad mouthing Ian in that light. So,
Phil, do you have some thoughts about this? I feel like you.
Yeah, I mean, it's really sad. Ian's been very open about what he lives with, and I think it's upsetting that they think that that's something funny to joke about. I do think that production probably, when they talked to them, they said, "You guys need to start thinking about how you're being perceived." I do wonder why Danny is being extra nice today as well. So I wonder if anything was brought up in that situation about how they're being perceived, because there was definitely a lot about not just Ian, but also the Bay and Day stuff online on Twitter. There was a lot of people saying this is season 21 all over again. So there's a lot of worries. And I do have to say, I found it very sad that today when Kevin was doing his talking, that they made sure to put in the line that Kevin said, "It's great that this show gives a platform for diversity," or something like that, because I kind of cringed at that, because I was like, I don't think that the show is quite there yet. I think having one of each token player and still being a minority in the house, you're not there yet, CBS. So.
Yeah, not even close. They need to take a look over at MTV and see that MTV's not great, but they are making a little bit more waves and having a lot more, it's like 50-50 or 60-40 with diversity, etc. J-Job says production should not interfere and let players speak freely regardless of consequence. Absolutely. Absolutely. And they should also, I feel, not be cutting the feed, because what I enjoy about Big Brother is not necessarily the competitions or whatnot, but like I like seeing the social human interaction between people, so I can see people for who they are, like really, like that's what's fascinating for me. And so with getting these like cookie cutter narratives and like deciding how we want to frame people's games and how they're interacting, like I don't enjoy that because it's not real to me. And so yes, I 100% agree, Jay Jobs, that production should stay out and deal with it after, because that's what I want to see. When you're not in Brazil?
Yeah, because I think just like the backlash that Francis has gotten already with like losing all her sponsors, not all, but a lot of them. I think production shouldn't interfere with that, because then they stop talking. Like she's just then at that point putting on a show. Like she's just like refraining from saying what she's actually thinking, or like, you know what I mean? Like she wants to laugh, but now she's not going to. And that's like you said, it's not the real version of themselves.
Game within a game.
Yeah. I think they deserve everything that's going to happen to them after. So.
Absolutely.
I think specifically.
Yeah, I feel.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say, Big Brother UK, when they used to do it, They used to actually like call the people into the diary room, show them getting reprimanded, give them warnings if they had racist behavior. And if it continued and it got really bad, they got kicked out. And I think there should be rules on this. I agree people should be shown, but I do think production should step in. If it's getting out of control and that is their narrative, I don't want to watch that for the whole summer. And I don't think that is part of the game. I don't think it makes the game fun. So I do think that there should be warnings and penalties for things that are not acceptable.
I think penalties, like, you know, like we don't even like for the challenge D, like from when that episode aired, they I've noticed cut out almost every portion that D was in after that. So I know it's different because this is like live and in real time almost, but yeah, I think that they should be given like a warning and then you're out, like you're off the show. So it's just not acceptable.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Jay Jobs and you are kind of saying the same thing. Like we want to just know what's actually going on. We don't want them to be silenced and nobody knows why they're being silenced. Like, you know, they're not talking freely anymore. And like of course I don't want them to be racist to anybody or threatening to anybody or terrible to Ian. Like I don't want them to do those things. But I would like to know why they stopped. Like, you know what I mean? Like I would like to know what happened there. And I think that's where I think the production should not be interfering. If they're going to tell them to stop, I want to see what they've reprimanded.
And you want to know the real reason why they're not putting Ian up. You want to know why they're like, you don't want it to be some fluffy reason. You want it to be the truth. Why are they not putting Ian?
And I feel like if Ian knew that, Ian would be pissed. Like, you're only not putting me up because you were talking shit about me. Like, and now you're in trouble for it.
Yeah. I think also, though, just specifically with this All-Star season, these people were, I think I've heard, paid to come back. And they're essentially brand ambassadors for the show coming off of a very racist season. They want to curb it. And these are already people that are like this show groomed and made. And if these people can't follow the rules and learn from mistakes, and they probably had a bunch of sensitivity training before this season, if it's still happening, CBS would be like, no, we're going to get our show canceled. We have no jobs. So I see why they would step in with their brand ambassadors specifically, and also on the heels of a very testy season as it is. Well, so I understand it, but I still think it's interference. And
the climate of obviously the world and especially the United States right now is very like, you know, frenetic with like what is acceptable, especially with minorities of any sort. I just feel though that in order for it to actually be getting better, we have to see what's happening and we have to see what has been put into place. Like, you know, they did have this implicit bias training in the beginning. And so what I've gathered from the feeds is that how they were going to rectify that was, I'm not going to put up I'm not going to vote out a black person for the first 2 weeks of the show. Like that's what they translated the implicit bias, you know, about people of color to. And so it's just, I would like to know that though, at least, you know what I mean? Like, okay, this is the training that everybody's gone through. Like maybe show the audience and be like, hey, like this is like what we're doing to change things. So we can have a little bit more of an understanding here and like we can grow. There's a lot of people that are super negative on Reddit for sure, just talking about how even the class of 2020, how they're like tired, they're sick and tired of hearing everybody's opinion on racism within the Big Brother house. They're like, it's just a game. It's just a game. And to make people understand that it's more than just a game would be helpful with growing and shifting and changing.
Well, and I think Kaser said it the best. He said it's like a representation of how the real world is. Like just looking in at that little house, like that's how it is on the outside. So
it's a game within the real world and you can't escape the real world. And these people are going back into the real world. So it's not just a game and let it happen there. Like, no, this is how anyone probably was before the game, during the game, and after the game. And it needs to be curbed and reprimanded. I just think if you put into the list of like what's deal breakers in the contracts, like physical violence is obviously one of them. They make them watch their language throughout filming, just like throughout the season. And just if you say, okay, if you're saying anything discriminatory or like any bigotry or anything, like just we'll call you on it as well. And as long as they know, like shit, okay, I got to be watching what I say in all fronts. Then they don't need to do these little one-on-ones with them and just say, you're breaking your contract. Boom. Get better.
Yeah, I think it was the winner of Big Brother 15, Andy. He put out a tweet and he said, if they can tell them to stop singing a song instantly, they should be able to tell them to stop bullying somebody instantly.
That's a pretty good point. I haven't been that big of a fan of Andy, especially in his rage of not being on this season or being asked on this season. But that was something that I was like, okay, Andy, I don't mind you right now. You're okay.
It's true, yeah.
He's been really vocal actually about this season and him feeling as though the people, a lot of people that like him who would be willing in this climate to stand up for some people and actually say something, they weren't asked onto the show. And so that's in that regard, I think it's unfortunate that he wasn't there, but a lot of people that would stand up for people weren't there. Which kind of sucks. I wish. So with this episode, what else happened? Danny puts up David and Kevin. That's pretty much it, right?
I was really hoping for the disturber to be used.
Well, I mean, Nick, do you want to pop off now, or should we talk about what's actually going on in the house?
I mean, I was really hoping they were going to show who the replacement for David is going to be, because obviously I assume he's using his power because it expires next week anyways. Why it wasn't just shown right away, but I guess they want something juicy to look forward to on Tuesday.
Who do you think it is?
I don't think Tyler, because I think Franzel gets what Franzel wants, and Franzel's saying not Tyler. Clearly can't be Ian, I guess, because can't be Ian. I was gonna guess Davon, but I'm like just so mad if it is, because like you're safe. She's going so out of her way to make Davon feel safe. So then who else is left?
We're all just like
Christmas?
Would you want us to tell you or no?
Not really. I mean, if we can continue without saying it, sure. But if you can't,
I don't know. What else do you want to talk about then at this point? Because like the only interesting stuff is what's been going on since this happened.
Do you agree with her initial? Like, do you think that those were the right ones for her?
I think as much as she's been dark and she wants to make moves, and there was the whole segment on the episode a week ago or whatever. It's like it kept making like snip noises, like I'm close with this, but then snip, and it just kept making like showing this mastermind narrative. It's pretty weak pawn nominations. But again, she could be playing for I want people I think I can beat in the veto, win it, and then backdoor the person I want, get everyone on board and do it. So I don't know. I don't even think she knows about her full backdoor plan, at least not in the episode, because she was even saying it to her most trusted allies. She was like, yeah, and then maybe we do Tyler, and Nicole's kind of like nodding along, and I don't even know. I think Danny needed to sort more things out. So I think once this cord is pulled and she has to now name one of her non-safe nominations, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Chantele, me and you last week when we talked, we said after Band Day, we said this week if one of the 6 wins, for sure Kevin and David are going on the block. Mm-hmm. We knew that was going to happen anyways. But yeah, I think with Danny being in control, even at this point, I do know what happens, but at this point, like she is the person who does like to backdoor people. Like she likes that part of the game, so it was possible.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just so much speculation, but like I can't talk about it.
The reason I was happy that it was Danny who won it, when it was down to Cody, Danny, and Franzel, and there was like who's gonna throw fastest kind of thing. I was happy when it was Danny, because I'm like, I think she would be the one that just like once she decides it, she'll just do it. And Franzel would be obviously very scared to do anything, and Cody would just stick to what the guys want. So I was like most excited to see like the type of chaos Danny might bring to an otherwise boring season. So I hope that chaos kind of, it's been okay. Now you have to make that move. I hope that's what happens. I guess.
I was surprised that Danny didn't get upset that the other 2 dropped out. I'm surprised there was no line like I can't believe they dropped or anything.
Well, Danny kind of was. I think Danny was about to drop. I think they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go first." Like,
I think she just started crying because she realized she was going to get a letter and like, okay, I'm safe. So I think just the emotion got to her before she could get angry or start thinking what it meant for her game other than the positives. So in the diary room, though, she's like, I guess I'm HOH. Like, yeah, I think she was a little.
She was making the weirdest noises on the feeds when
I did write down her moaning.
she was moaning.
Yeah,
like,
it was in the episode too, the moaning.
it went on for like a while. I had to like mute it. I was like, I can't listen to this.
Jay Jaws, do you have anything else you want us to talk about? Anything about the episodes up until now? Nick is a spoiler-free person, so no spoilers. But if you have anything else that we haven't touched on in this week's episode,
one good thing is she gets to use her power, her stupid power that she hated. She'll get to use it. She gets to do another HOH next
Try
week.
about it now, Danny.
Danny gets to play again, right? That was Danny's.
Yeah.
Is you can play again, and then you get to back to back. And Christmas's was you cannot be named a replacement.
block it.
Okay.
Block
Then-
it. Renom.
David's is like by far the best. It's David has a secret veto, a hidden immunity veto.
Yeah, essentially.
It's the best one.
That you have to use before the veto.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you? If you're not.
It's
No, but
Christmases.
that would be backdoor.
When can Christmases use her? After? Oh, before?
Before the
It was after the veto person takes themselves off, but
And then-
before they name the replacement.
I think she has to call that the blocker first.
And the funny thing is, that's the power we had on season 2 that wasn't used. Isn't that? That was the power that we had.
Huh.
Yeah.
It is limited because no spoilers, so no. I know. There's so much craziness going on. Okay. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, Jay Jaws. We'll definitely do Sundays every week. We'll come and chat, about what's going on the week in advance or in. You know what I'm saying. I'm getting tired, I guess.
Reflection.
In reflection, yes. Thanks, Nick. Do you guys have anything else you want to share, talk about?
Team Day.
Team Day.
Team Day!
I will say this. Am I going to be bored with this next episode, or am I going to be like, oh, it's going to be fun, spicy?
It has to be spicy.
I see some spicy nods. I like this. I like it a lot. Okay, I'm good because I want to see that, and I like speculating while watching the episode with my partner, and like when I know I can't, and he's even expressed, he's like, I hate that you know this. I love that you podcast, but I hate when you get the spoilers because then you can't speculate with me. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to keep.
Well, that's what we feel like right now.
You talk 24/7 about this. You'll have your outlets. But yeah.
I love talking with you too, Jay Jobs. Thank you for all your insight and all your knowledge. Thank you.
Yeah, very knowledgeable.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
I can't wait for Nick to watch everything.
I know.
I'm excited.
It's like, last week.
Why do you think it's on Tuesday? Is there anything because it needs more time between the
I'm sure
competition?
it's probably basketball on Wednesday or something.
Football on Thursday, I think. Thursday night football, I think, or I'm not sure.
Well, it was Wednesday. That's not being aired on Wednesday for Tuesday now.
Oh, so then basketball, yeah.
Maybe there's an election thing too. I don't know.
Oh, great.
You're a token American. What's happening in politics?
California's on fire.
Yes.
Our COVID cases are going up. Trump is the president. Everything's great. 2020.
Woo. Well,
I want to be a Canadian so bad. Adopt me.
I have a lumpy couch you can sleep on. Come on up.
Love lumpy couches.
Room for Nala too.
So Phil, just like on a personal note, like how's your Survivor game going right now? I know you're kind of in the middle of one. I think they just hit merge.
We just hit merge. We just eliminated the first person from merge, but we're doing the edge of extinction, so nobody's really out. It's going well. Lots of fun people playing. We had some winners come back, but the new people are showing them how to actually play, so it's good.
Do you play or are you the one who runs it?
I've been running my group's called just Phil's Facebook Survivor. I've been running it since 2008, and yeah, it's been going strong and lots of fun. Chantele has played. She did wonderful. She is known as the most epic final words ever.
She sent me. She's like, "Is this too much, Nick?" I'm like, "Hey, you made it. You send it. Like, if we made it, it's because it's what you want to say. I know you well enough for that."
She said that to me, and I was like, "Upload." I got an answer.
I mean, I was heated, so and like I like to go in it with a bang at least to make a mark. I'm sure these two, they're both fantastic gamers. They would probably love to play one of your seasons. So
wonderful.
Soon, I'm sure, and you'll probably get the itch and end up playing one of ours. So I wouldn't be surprised.
I think so.
So we can see where we can find all you guys. But is anybody working on anything that they want people to see them on, follow them at, anything? Yeah.
I'm playing Sequester in October.
Woo! That's gonna be fun. We will definitely watch. Maybe we'll try to do a watch party this time. Phil has played Sequester with his some people from his Survivor group. That's the one that JoJo ended up winning. Was the first private mini for Sequester. So
nice.
Twice now, correct, Phil?
Yes, I also played another one with a doll. Mini Phil, which is why I got a Twitter account because I didn't have one. I got rid of my old one, so I'm back on Twitter. So I put that up. Sequester is wonderful.
So fun. Sequester is definitely a different game, but it's satisfying. It's definitely satisfying for some of that. Like if you want to stay in the game and you want to win and figure out how to move forward. I definitely think it's satisfying. Nick, are you gonna do it?
I mean, I could be convinced. Yeah. If it's new and different, I won't say no. Like that's exciting to me, and I like pushing my own limits. Like the Survivor we did this last month was just so much fun, and I didn't even know what I would think about it, but it was the best. Yeah.
I should also put a shout out. It is because we're in Canada. Most of us are in Canada. It is Smile Cookie Week starting tomorrow. And all throughout Canada, if you go to Tim Hortons and buy a Smile Cookie, it supports a great charity. The full $1 goes to the charity, and I definitely think that's a wonderful cause. So.
Yeah.
And I love cookies.
Okay.
I just gotta get my passport and go buy a cookie.
Have you had Tim Hortons?
No, I don't even know what that is.
It's kind of like donuts, but like Tim Hortons.
It's like what?
Dunkin' Donuts, or it's like a donut shop, like a coffee shop.
Oh, okay.
Tim Hortons was a hockey player, if I'm not mistaken, from 1930s. I don't know how old he is, but it's a famous Canadian hockey player, and he started I don't know if he started it or was named after him, but a chain of coffee shops basically that are very consistent across Canada. So it's a very Canadian thing for sure.
There's you can have the smallest city in Canada, but it'll always have a Tim Hortons. That's that's just a fact.
So it's like McDonald's in America.
But McDonald's is in Canada.
McDonald's in Canada too. And they're usually close to each other.
On border cities, there might be Tim Hortons, maybe.
There are some in the States. Yeah, there are some in the States. They're owned by Wendy's, so they're always with Wendy's usually.
Interesting. Okay.
Timmy Ho's, Timmy Ho's.
Oh, that's cute.
It's a
new sponsor for Reality Realness.
Gift certificates. Well, you can find me at Reality Realness with 3 S on Instagram and Twitter without the second E. At Fran. You can find myself. You can see everybody else's Twitter and Instagram handles on their screen. Please make sure you subscribe right down below. Hit that like button if you like this video. Ring the bell so every time we go live with a new episode, you can come hang out and chat with us like Mr. J Jobs over here. We love chatting with you, so let's do it again. Final words before I sign off.
Thanks for having me. It was so much fun.
Bye. Ciao.
Bye.